Je peux vous dire que je suis un très bon chasseur. Ha! Je peux vous dire que je suis un très bon chasseur. Ha! Je peux vous dire que je suis un très bon chasseur. Ha!
All right, Fabiano, this is your lip sync exercise, the second take. There's a few things going on here that you're going to have to watch. You've got a lot of volume changes. Like if you see the body, he starts skinny, gains weight, then his hips are going really low to the ground here, where so much that his legs are having a hard time walking. He's skinny here, and then he gains weight. And even here, he's going up, gaining weight, and then skinny. I know you're trying to do a stretch there, but it feels more like he's just shifting in weight because everything else is not clear. And then he's huge in his weight. You gotta watch all those volume changes. Volumes are incredibly important, and you gotta maintain them. Like on the hands, your fingers are going from fat to small and thin, depending upon the pose, and sometimes tiny, shrinking like here. And then here's a bit. On these kinds of movements, there's a little leeway you have, but it feels like it's ballooning up rather than being a smear drawing. And I know you're trying to do it for emphasis, but sometimes that emphasis is just too much. It's out of place. If you look at these this is from the pose that you were provided. These are really nice. They're consistent. They have a lot of expressivity to them. You want to make sure you maintain those, but then your fingers go sort of balloony, sausage-like, and then they get real big here, almost disproportionately so. And I know you're just doing like a kind of a getting ready to be menacing, but and here too, you're in-betweening here, showing you that it's not working too well, because at speed you don't really see that he's doing anything. It's just like his hands are, as he's moving sideways, now his hands are going whoop, whoop. Even in your arms here, like these arms here, are very balloony, especially the one that's going to make this gesture, and then it goes, look at that. Now it's lost all that weight. So you got to maintain your volumes on everything. So aside from that, it's nice, you know, that you're getting this. It might be a little bit too big for him, because it feels it looks like a stretch, which is what is a good thing. Your instinct to do that is fine, but the execution of it is a bit too much. It's disproportionately much. And it's nice that he's doing that kind of, you know, working the crowd kind of thing. That's a nice thing. That's a nice bit. So, on this kind of a pose, one thing you want to think about is silhouette. Does this read as a silhouette? If it's not reading as a silhouette, you're not utilizing all of the tools that you have as an artist in order to draw attention to a character's attitude or emotion. You're not communicating as effectively as you could be, because you want that personality to come through. And one of the ways we do that is through silhouette. So all of our drawings have a silhouette, so this would be clear. So the action is sort of lost within his silhouette, right? So you would want to have, let's see, where would I do it? So the key would be, say, here, but you want to make sure that that hand and that thumb get that arm out of the way, you know, so that you have all that negative space in there to make sure that that is reading, right? So now it's looking a little bit better, but it's sort of an awkward, it's still a bit awkward. So on a movement like this, instead of having him just sort of in between from that hand up into that position there, which works, it works all right. It would probably work better if this one, if this hand was more, there's more of a drag on that hand, so his thumb is out and there's a bit of a drag on that hand as he's, you know, putting that thing together. Well, he didn't have his fingers closed, so. But even if you were to bring those fingers up and do something there, even that scribble, I think, will give a sense of drag, which is nice. And you might want to do it on a previous one so that you have at least room for an in-between into that. But here, I might bring this all more like this rather than that. Just that little bit of a drag on that follow through, so it's not just like a straight in between, which has a mechanical feel to it. If it's got a drag, it just gives it a little more life. So it's nice as you come forward and then come back and settle back into a nice pose there. But here, one thing you got to watch is that the cat is leading, his eye direction is leading the mice. Because you see here he's looking off screen. I mean, he's looking here, but the mice are still there. So it indicates that you animated that before you had the mice to figure out where they should be. So then you need to make that adjustment if it's not quite there. Because it doesn't read that he's looking here and not following. He's only following the mice here. Now he's looking over here like where they're going, and that's when he says something. So there has to be another mice over here or something to justify that look. Looks are incredibly important. Wherever a character is looking is an important place. And so you have to know what is he looking at. He's just not just aimlessly looking around. I mean, sometimes when you're in a thought process, you might do that. But in general, you want to have an idea or at least an answer for where is that character looking? What's he looking at and why is he looking in that direction? And always check those. I always tell my animators the last thing you want to do is do an eye pass. So that you finish your scene, just go back and review it and make sure everything is looking where it should be looking and make the eye adjustments that are necessary to make it sync. Just make the eye sync. So, but nice effort.